Hey everybody, I'm here to do my yearly gaming video. Now, I know we're like mid-January, so this is super late at this point, but I figured better late than never, and I'm a bit of a procrastinator, so it's very unlikely that this would have been on time anyways. But I had been thinking about this for a long time. I just haven't really had any time to sit down and record it. The end of the year for me was nuts. I was sick, boom, 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 with like three or four different things in a row. And I only just started to feel better as we got into the new year. So that's part of my excuse for not making this video. But I did recently tally up all the games that I played in 2018, and I just want to talk a little bit about those, as is my tradition every single year. So 2018 for me was not too shabby. By my estimation, I finished about 65 unique games, and that's not counting games that I play that are like never ending. A good example of this would be the fact that I actually finished up both Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 on the 360. I got all the achievements and I spent a lot of time playing those with my friends to get those finished. But technically, because it's just a game with 4 campaigns, I didn't include it in my completion list. I keep a whiteboard downstairs with all the games that I've played in a year, and I keep track of what I'm currently playing, and when I write games on my board, I'm also color coding them, and I sort them by replayed games that I've played previously and I'm going back and doing, and by new games I've never played before and that I'm playing for the first time. And I always write it down if it's something that I've finished start to finish, regardless of the genre. Of course, like the endless games, like I said, are something that I just don't mention. It usually are games with some sort of story that I'll include on my board. So, with that being said, 65 games, and there may also be some games in there that I kind of forgot to mention, which means that it was a pretty busy and also pretty productive year for me. I think a lot of us don't have that luxury of the amount of spare time that I have to actually finish up games, and I'm incredibly, incredibly grateful for that. Some of the games I played range in length from 1 hour to 25 or 30 or 40 hours, so there's a good mix of short, long games. I also play on the PC, I play on PlayStation, and I play on the Xbox as well. So it's a mix of consoles, but I do definitely favor my Xbox over everything else, so most of it is Xbox stuff. So I have a super bad habit of replaying games that I've already played, and I'll replay them for various reasons. Most of the time, 99% of the time, they're for achievements. If it's a game that I've played but I have it for a different system, I'll go back and I'll replay it. Some games I just like to play for the hell of it. A game that I tend to sort of play yearly, regardless of what kind of playthrough I'm doing, is Resident Evil Remake. That's just kind of become my yearly I want to play this game. It used to be Ocarina of Time for the longest time. I think ever since I started playing it as a kid, I would just replay Ocarina of Time. It was just something I wanted to play every single year. But for some reason, Resident Evil Remake is just something I get an itch to play every single year. And Resident Evil in general, when I look at what I played this year, just to give you guys a good example, I played Remake, I played Revelations and Revelations 2 over again. I played 7 and I played 5 over again. Resident Evil I just played for fun. I've pretty much gotten everything I wanted to do in that game finished. Revelations and Revelations 2 were stacks. I played them on the 360, so I was playing the one version. Resident Evil 7 is the same thing. Originally, I had the PC version, so I was playing the Xbox One version. And RE5, I do believe I was doing the game on professional difficulty. And so I actually played the game start to finish, and I recounted that as something that I had finished. So that's a good example of the kind of person that I am. There's certain things that I definitely go back and play and I spend more time on than I should. I definitely replayed more games this year than I played new games, which is really something I have to work on because I have a lot of pick about what it is that I want to play. I have so much to choose from, and so I spend a lot of time playing old games rather than playing new games. And I've gotten better over time about buying new games. I really try not to buy new games anymore unless it's something I absolutely have to have. I also don't pre-order much anymore. With looking at how things have gone with things like Fallout 76, I really think it's best just to wait and see and save your money. But I did get through a fair amount of games that are new as well, and there were quite a few that I really enjoyed. One of the things I did this year that I hadn't had a chance to do in previous years was I took advantage of game sharing on Xbox, which is a really nice system. I can have access to a friend's games if I log in on my Xbox. And for a little while, I was using my friend's account, and he had something like 600 different games digitally. And I used that opportunity to stack games that I had already played that I knew were really, really short, sweet, and I could finish them up. So I only had his library for about a month, but I did a few games that I had never played before as well. One of those examples being Late Shift, which I really, really enjoyed. Not something that I would have wanted to pay money for because it's so short, but it was really kind of a neat experience, and I really enjoyed being able to play that. And I think in the month that I had his account, I managed to get like 10,000 gamer score because I was just cranking out game after game after game. So I had really neat opportunities like that. I have a friend who I regularly share with, and I'm able to play multiplayer stuff now more than ever with my friends online, which is something that I've only kind of gotten into in the last couple of years. For the most part, I've stayed away from online games just because of how people can be, and I've just kind of wanted to avoid that. But it's really a lot of fun when you have people that you know, and it's allowed me to play games that I didn't really think I would enjoy or be into. Two of the games that I get through my friend's game share are Far Cry 4, which I haven't finished yet because I just kind of play with him when he's on, and Dying Light. So Far Cry 4 is my first Far Cry game. I've never really thought I'd be into that type of game or that series, but I actually really enjoy it, and I would definitely play 3, which I've heard is really good, and maybe the newest one, 5, if it ever drops in price or I can get it off of somebody. I would definitely be willing to try that. And then Dying Light, I really wasn't impressed with Dead Island. I just found Dead Island to be very dull, very boring. These were made by some of the same people, and Dying Light is definitely very much improved, and I actually really like it. I haven't finished it yet because it's a bit dull with friends, and the matchmaking in that game is really horrible. So I can't add those to my list of completed games, but those are the types of things that I had been doing this year. I think this year was kind of my year to shine in terms of multiplayer. I got a lot of multiplayer stuff knocked out, a lot of games that I had been waiting to find people to play with. I found to be able to do that, and so I knocked out those achievements, or I got certain things finished, or I got past a part that I was stuck on. It was a really good way for me to hang out with my friends and to help each other out, and then to also help that completion side of me feel really, really good. Now, last year when I did this video, I was able to very definitively say these were games I didn't like that I played, this was my game of the year, that kind of thing. But I didn't really have that this year. This was just a year of completing a lot of stuff, mingling with a lot of people, and I did play some really good games. Unfortunately, there's not really anything that stands out as like game of the year to me. I would say probably the closest thing to that would be Stardew Valley, because I was very, very, very late to the boat. I knew that when I started playing Stardew Valley, I wasn't going to stop, and that is exactly what happened. When I loaded it up and I played it initially on the Xbox, I didn't do anything else for like a week straight. I would go to work, I would eat, I would shower, and then I would just play Stardew, sometimes for like 8 hours a day. I put in about 150-ish hours on the Xbox version, and I also have a co-op farm with my friend Cypher, and we've put in about 100 hours on that. So overall, I think definitely that's the game I've spent the most time playing, and also something that I've just really, really enjoyed. I'm really happy that it's lived up to the hype and it is as good as people were saying. And I like that it's not only fun by yourself, but it's fun with friends, and it's really just been a really great experience. I don't actually have a hard copy on me to show you, but I'm going to probably buy one just to continue to support that dev, and buy myself another copy in case I ever want to play it on something else. The only new game that actually came out in 2018 that I can think of that I played was Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which was a gift. I actually didn't buy this. This was a very nice gift that someone had bought me. So I went ahead and I played it after playing the 2013 reboot version and Rise of the Tomb Raider. And in my mind, the Tomb Raider series is just kind of like a slow progression downhill. I know a lot of people actually think that Rise of the Tomb Raider is the best one, but I honestly believe that the original one that they started the reboots with was the best. It just had the best story. It was a great length, and I really actually enjoyed the villains in that game as opposed to Trinity, which are kind of lame. So definitely not really doing a lot of new gaming. I'm more or less catching up on everything that I'm really, really behind on. And again, this is a classic example of why I don't really buy stuff new anymore. The person who bought this for me bought this at full price, I think the day or two after it came out. I was away at the time, so when I came back, it was like a really incredibly nice surprise. But then around Christmas time, when Boxing Day and Black Friday sales were around, this had already dropped to like $50, So that's why I try and wait. I have so many things that I can play kind of, in the meantime while I wait for something to drop in price, or I wait to see how games are before I actually buy them. A few other honorable mentions of games that were new to me that I played this year were a couple of things I played for the channel, Soma, Dream Daddy. I really enjoyed both of those games quite a bit. DMC Devil May Cry I had never played up until this year, and I enjoyed it. I thought the combat was super fun, and I watched somebody play the demo for DMC 5, and I'm hoping that that is going to be as good as it looks, because if it plays similar to how DMC played, I would be very interested in picking that up. I finished the first Mass Effect. Never really got into Mass Effect before. Finished the first game and it wasn't too bad. I'm not really a fan of space. It depends on what it is. Dead Space, for example, is something that's done really well that I thoroughly enjoy, but space is really kind of hit or miss for me, and so hopefully I can jump back on that saddle and maybe finish 2, maybe 3, maybe Andromeda, but most people seem to be of the consensus that's another series that just kind of falls as time goes on. I got around to playing the Frozen Wastes or Frozen Wilds DLC for Horizon Zero Dawn, which was really nice. That was again something else that I was waiting to drop in price before I actually dropped money on it and played it. And Horizon Zero Dawn was my game of the year last year. I had finished the full game, I had waited for the update to come out, and then I had done the game in hard mode. And then the DLC had come out and I was just biding my time. Definitely worth it, but I'm really glad that I did save the money, and it was really, really nice to go back to that game and just kind of have that experience all over again after taking a bit of a break from it. And then we can't forget A Hat in Time, which is phenomenal. I had so much fun streaming that entire game, and that is something that I am working on getting up to the channel for those of you who may have missed it. 2017, I worked on the kind of prequel God of War games, so I did Ghost of Sparta, Ascension, and Chains of Olympus. And then in the beginning of 2018, I played God of War 1 and 2 in preparation for playing the newest one. Unfortunately, I never got around to playing 3, and I actually do have the God of War, the newest one, here, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. So I've left some things kind of half finished. God of War is definitely on my to play list for this year. Another game that I have put off playing for a super long time was Alan Wake, and I actually played that this year semi recently. I think I played it in about September, October, and I really enjoyed it. Survival horror is my genre, and that was something that I just kind of put off for a long time. I don't even know why I had put it off for so long because everyone was telling me to play it. I finally played it and I really very much enjoyed that. So all in all, not really anything that stands out as either good or bad. There's really nothing that was like, man, this is amazing. But there really wasn't anything I played this year that really made me feel like I hate this. This is a waste of time. I don't want to do this anymore, which was very different from last year. Kind of a stark comparison because I definitely had a few games last year that were a constant struggle, things I really didn't want to play, and I kind of played to the very bare minimum just to get them finished and to get them kind of cleaned off my shelf. So, in terms of what kind of goals I have for this year, it's kind of sad because I feel like I make more gaming goals than I make life goals. And I always have all these things that I want to get done in terms of gaming. And so, of course, I have ideas of what I want to do, but realistically, there's probably a lot I'm actually not going to get around to. I'd like to continue multiplayer type stuff just because there tend to be a lot of server closures for games, and you want to get people ready and available when they're actually there to help you, because if you're doing multiplayer stuff, you either have to depend on randoms or you have to depend on you and your friends' schedules kind of lining up. And I very much enjoy getting on my headset on the Xbox and just chatting with my friends. That's something I very much like to do. Xbox is kind of my social console where I actually talk to people and I converse a lot more than I would PlayStation or Steam. So that's kind of my goal there. And to finish up what I've started, like I said, I've started up Far Cry, I've started up Dying Light, I've also started up Final Fantasy 15. I have a digital copy on Xbox which I have started, and I also have the PS4 version if I want to do a stack, which is repetitive, but I actually kind of enjoy it in a way. I kind of play it in spurts. I need like a bit of a break from the repetitiveness, and then I go back and I enjoy it. So I have lots and lots of things on the go already. I've wiped my whiteboard clean. I'm going to start keeping track of what it is that I play. There's also a lot of games I'd like to play that don't have anything to do with achievements. Older games, stuff that is on the Wii, the GameCube, those kinds of things. I also went through my list of games. You can see back there, actually behind me, I have some of my games. I have the DS, I have PlayStation, I have GameCube, Nintendo 64, and Wii back there, and then my Xbox that you can't see is actually just beside me. So I went through a lot of my older games that I have, and I've become a bit of a game collector through all the various cons and things that I've been to. And there's actually a lot of games I have on my shelf that are worth a decent amount of money. And so it would be nice to get through those, play them, decide if I want to keep them for my collection, and if not, then I would like to be able to sell those to someone who might be looking for those. There are definitely certain games that I do collect, and I do like to have copies of games. I like actually holding the game physically in my hand, but as time goes on, we as a society are just kind of moving away from that. Everything is digital, and I'm finding that I'm feeling a little bit, I guess, overwhelmed and just trapped by all these games that I have. I look at all these games that I have, and it's like I have so much to play. And that's not even thinking about games digitally. That's just, you can actually physically see the games on your shelf, whereas when things are digitally, it's just a list and it's a lot easier just to put out of your mind. So I have been working on downsizing, and there are things that I have been downsizing on. Certain things I will always keep as collector's games, such as Resident Evil. I always buy a physical copy no matter what, which is just a collector's thing for me. Atelier is the same way. The Tales series is the same way. But there are quite a few things that I could probably get rid of, maybe sell, get a bit of money, and, have it go to a better owner, someone who might appreciate that game more. And that would also probably hopefully mean more streams. It might mean more Let's Plays. There might be something I pull off my shelf, I play it, and I think, oh my god, I didn't think I would enjoy this, or I had no idea what this is about, and this is something I want to share with the channel. And that would be something that I would go back, replay, record, and then I would, you know, cart it off and get rid of it if that's something that I wanted to do. So those are, of course, my main goals, I think, for this year are just to kind of clean up and condense. I want to play more new games rather than old. I want to start what I've finished, and I want to work on multiplayer stuff while I still have that chance. And then all the while, I want to make sure that I keep on streaming for you guys and, you know, recording and playing and things like that. So hopefully I'll be able to do some of that. Most of the time, most years, even if I don't meet all of my goals, I still feel like I'm fairly productive and I get a fair amount of stuff done. So I hope 2019 is going to be the same. I have rambled on for a super long time, I'd imagine. I haven't timed it, but I always do. But you guys seem to enjoy these types of videos when I do them. And feel free to let me know how your year was or what plans you have this year. Not even gaming, if you want to just tell me how you know, how you plan on doing things this year. If there's anything you'd like to see. And just, yeah, just talk with me. Let me know how you guys are doing. Thanks to everybody who supports the channel. Once again, I always say it, but I can't say it enough to everybody who watches and subscribes, likes, looks at the streams, you know, that type of thing. My cat keeps disturbing me. He wants my attention, apparently. So that's probably a good sign for me to wrap this video up. Sorry it didn't have as much kind of sustenance as the previous years had, where I kind of am able to separate it by like game of the year, worst games, you know, stuff like that. I may break this video off and just kind of separate it because it is probably going to be pretty long. But either way, I hope you guys enjoy this video. I hope you guys enjoy the content, and thank you so much for sticking with me. This will be my 9th year on YouTube, or my 8th year. I think I started making videos in 2010, even if I've deleted them and I don't have them anymore. So it has been a long ride, but it has been a fun ride, and if I can make it to 10 years, that would be amazing. Time has flown by and I haven't even thought about it. So anyways, thanks for those of you who have been here for 1 year, 6 months, 5 years, 10 years, doesn't matter to me. As long as you're here hanging out, I really always appreciate the support, and best of luck to everybody and everything that they do in 2019, and hopefully I will see you guys soon for a channel update, which I'd also like to do. So happy 2019, everybody, happy gaming, and I hope that I will talk to you guys next time.